My News 16, the Basin's only primetime newscast.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Strackhouse. School ended unexpectedly for junior high students in Odessa today. A chemical scare sent many of them to the emergency room while their parents demanded answers. Tonight, we know at least one student brought the mercury onto the campus inside of a soda bottle. We're covering this story from every angle. Our team coverage begins with CBS 7's Tatum Gwynn, who spent the morning at Hood Junior High as the situation unfolded. Tatum.
Eric Valenzuela!
One by one, Hood Junior High students were released to their parents, making for a short day of school.
Did you ever get scared?
Of course not.
Not really.
Fields.
By the looks of it, you wouldn't guess this was a scene of an emergency situation just an hour earlier.
I don't know. I don't even know what happened.
ECISD officials say hazmat crews arrived on the scene around 10:30 after 20 students were exposed to the chemical element. They soon learned 40 more students were exposed as well.
Everyone was just worried, and our teacher was saying, don't go outside and all that.
The district then took action notifying parents.
I'm very relieved. When I heard about it, I knew they were fine. Better safe than sorry, right? And I know it took people were complaining it took a while, but if they're taking care of our kids first, then I'm okay with the phone call an hour later.
Hundreds of parents waited outside for hours, waiting to hear if their child was okay, and then to take them home.
We hope everybody else is okay, but there are worse things that could probably have happened.
So take them a bath and wash their clothes.
Now that the students are decontaminated, the task of decontaminating the school has begun.
On when school will resume here at Hood Junior High, we'll keep you updated with the latest. And after the decontamination process at the school, dozens of students and staff made their way to Medical Center Hospital for a complete evaluation. 30 students and 4 staff members were all treated at the hospital. They came in by bus, all wearing hazmat suits. Officials say exposure to mercury is a very serious matter, especially in large quantities. Thankfully, this was a relatively small amount of mercury, and it was still in the liquid form, so it wasn't inhaled or absorbed into the skin.
This is essentially a non-toxic exposure. This was elemental mercury, which we don't see much anymore. It's what you saw on the old school thermometers, which we don't use anymore. You'll see it in
Some are still receiving treatment at MCH as well as Odessa Regional Hospital. Officials say they expect everyone to be discharged by the end of the day. A standoff situation in Odessa ended peacefully. According to police, a suicide call came in around 9:30. A woman told police that a man inside the Brady Station apartments wanted to kill himself but was trying to get police to do it for him. The man allegedly had many weapons inside his home and hoped police would shoot him. Officers were able to apprehend the man and take him to Medical Center Hospital to be evaluated. Charges are pending at this time. And the trial of a former Permian High School teacher accused of having an improper relationship between an educator and a student finally began today. Robert Young is accused of starting a relationship with an 18-year-old student back in 2010, just weeks before she was set to graduate. Jury selection in the trial began today. An Odessa man is trying to make a profit while bringing fugitives to justice and making community aware of drug issues. CBS 7's Andrew Bovin spoke to him earlier today and has details on this former drug abuser's mugshot magazine. Andrew.
I'm a recovering addict.
Jonathan Venables says he wants to do his part to help with the increase in crime in the basin.
It will educate the community on local crime.
The magazine will have mugshots of recent arrests and wanted felons. It will include other tools to show the dangers of drugs, such as faces of people who have used meth.
They'll be arrested 5 or 6 times, and just the progression, downhill progression of how it physically affects them.
However, it could raise legal questions if you are using someone's image to make money.
It's there. It's something that you would definitely need to ask yourself, and you may even face a lawsuit over it at some point.
Venables says he has an attorney to make sure he's within his legal rights. He hopes Mugshot Magazine will help the community.
Wants to publish his first monthly edition on April 15th. Tomorrow Tomorrow, Odessa police will hold an administrative hearing for the officer accused of having inappropriate sexual conduct with 3 women. They will decide if Salvador Becerra gets to keep his badge. Officer Becerra faces felony charges after an investigation revealed he allegedly touched the breasts of at least 3 women during traffic stops. A local police source told CBS 7 that 3 additional women may have come forward, but charges are still pending. CBS 7 spent time yesterday at the Odessa Police Department training for searches and pat-downs. Sergeant Carlos Chavez says male officers should never be patting down a female subject, and that people can always ask for an officer to call for a supervisor on duty when in doubt during a traffic stop. There's been a lot of talk about evacuation in Carlsbad. Today we spoke to a waste isolation pilot plant official who says at no point in the last 2 months since the radiation leak in February have they issued a release. He says even when the radiation leak was at its highest, it was never harmful to any workers or residents in the area. Coming up at 10 on CBS 7, we go into detail on the radiation leak and this supposed evacuation one website promoted. The city of Pecos is hoping to get 2 road bonds passed in order to start making necessary repairs on their streets. One of those bonds includes increasing their current local sales tax from 8.25% to 8.5%, meaning that people will pay 4 cents more for every $20 spent. CBS 7 and My News 16's Deanne Lopez spoke with the city manager about the increase. Deanne.
City Manager Fred Reyes says that all that they've been able to do recently is layer down a sealing coat of oil that will actually preserve the streets. But he says that more funding is needed in order to actually make repairs before potholes are formed.
The streets of Pecos are in desperate need of repair. From cracks to potholes, the city is hoping to resolve the problem sooner rather than later. But funding is needed in order to make this happen. This is where the increase in sales tax will not only help repair the streets now, but also in years to come.
If this bond passes, that we would see some significant improvements to some of the streets and continuously improve the streets that need the work, and at the same time, in years to come, continue to maintain the streets.
Reyes says residents don't have to worry about there being an increase in property taxes. In fact, he says residents will not even notice the increase.
The effects of sales tax as far as what it would do to the average citizen is minimal, if none. I hate to use the word none, but is minimal.
The good thing about the bond is that residents will have the chance to vote every 4 years on whether or not to keep the bond or to get rid of it.
Reyes says that if the bond does get approved, they expect to bring in $500,000 each year that will go strictly to repairing and maintaining their roads. In Pecos, Deanne Lopez, CBS 7 News.
Deanne, thanks. There may be some big changes coming to one of the busiest highways in Reagan County. TxDOT has met with officials today in Reagan County to go over road expansion. Reagan County Sheriff says the county kicked in $400,000 to bump up the US 67 project. Previously expected in 2015 or 2016, now the widening of US 67 east towards San Angelo is expected to begin fall of next year. Board members of a Midland nonprofit came together to clean up the community. Members of Keep Midland Beautiful's board were out picking up trash by Loop 250 today. They wanted to encourage the community to sign up for the upcoming Great American Cleanup.
We just hope our community will gather around and help us to gather up some of this trash that's gathering in our nice community.
The cleanup is scheduled for April 5th. To sign up, just go to kmb.org. And some major changes might be coming to the Gardendale Park. The Permian Basin Youth Football League will be holding a meeting Thursday, March 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Gardendale Community Center. PBYFL President Matt Laudermilk says they'll be laying out the football field plans and the new playground for public input. Laudermilk says the football fields would be going in place of the baseball and 4-H fields, and the community center would stay the same. If you're a veteran police officer or firefighter and you're looking to work on your days off, there might be a new option for you. Code Red Safety tells CBS 7 and My News 16 they want to hire rescue personnel who are certified for rescue jobs. Many companies in the oil and gas field need certified rescue teams and personnel on site, and that's one of the jobs Code Red Safety does. Rope rescue instructor Dean McCann says rope rescue work is very technical and has to be very specific in order to make sure people are safe.
What we do is make sure that they're trained up properly and that they can clip out, so to speak. If they can demonstrate a skill, then we can pass them on that skill.
They're having what's similar to open application process. The first step is to register. You can register by sending McCann an email by next Friday. His email and other information on how to register can be found on our website at cbs7.com. Support your law enforcement by shooting some clay. Bustin' for Badges is scheduled for Friday, May 2nd. Midland and Odessa Police Departments and Midland and Ector County Sheriff's Offices are partnering for the shoot. All proceeds go to the 4 agencies.
The main purpose that we do this is to raise funds for the law enforcement agencies that are being sponsored so that we can buy equipment or just better our departments through the funds that are brought together.
The shoot is being held at Windwalker Farms. To register, call 571-3462. When we come back, we'll have a complete look at your forecast next on My News 16, News First at 9.
Watching My News 16, the Basin's only primetime newscast.